And what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of House Talks podcast. It's only our second episode, so we're still learning the podcast game and kind of did the damn thing. Carn, you want to tell them what we did?
Yeah, so on this episode, we actually forgot to connect our mics.
Yeah, Carn glitched out.
That wasn't me. You got to blame Connor for that one.
Yeah, blame the only white guy here, right?
Nah, someone's got to do it. But no, guys, luckily our camera did pick up the audio. So the audio isn't what it's supposed to be, but it was way too good to throw in the trash. So we hope you guys enjoy it.
Connor, want to take it away?
Super excited to talk to you today. A little bit about Krish. He's got a bachelor's in kinesiology. He's an expert, I would say, in cupping and blade and soft tissue work as well, and do a lot of good work that we'll get into a little bit later with trying to prevent people on the border of medications to try to get them on a path forward to be a little bit more healthy and live a longer life. So Krish, thank you so much for coming on. You run a physio clinic.
Yeah, so I think you hit it on the nail there. I do a lot of work on trying to prevent people from doing more like medical procedures, things like that. So a lot in the prevention realm. So that involves helping with like injury management, helping with just how to train better form, kind of nipping things before they become a big issue. And like with that comes like all kinds of things. Like I'm a kinesiologist, so it's actually a kinesiology clinic, not a physio clinic. Just different like titles, but oddly enough, I've actually had a physiotherapy send me a letter from the board of physiotherapy because I had physical therapist in my bio. In Instagram, you get to pick a designation, and there was no kinesiologist. So I actually had a letter from the board of physiotherapy actually trying to sue me for using that because it's copyright. And if it's trademarked by the BC Board of Physio, and if I say I'm a physio, then it's like I'm trying to do billing fraud or I'm trying to like say something I'm not. So that was my actually first case of like haters.
What was this?
Dude, this was about a year after I moved into the clinic. Yeah. I actually have the letter screenshotted. I posted it. I didn't believe it. I got a letter and it was BC Board of Physio. I'm like, oh, maybe they're gonna give me like an honorary title or some shit. I was like so excited. I was like, oh, I'm being recognized for doing such good work. And it's a screenshot on my Instagram bio saying, you can't use this, take this off, or we're gonna like, take action, take legal action, dude. Yeah.
Your palms are just ripping on you right away.
Oh, it's crazy. But yeah, anyways, kinesiology clinic. That's why my name is KinKrish, short for kinesiology. And just trying to help towards injuries, prevention, nutritional counseling, all things of that sort. Yeah.
I know you helped me and Carn quite a bit there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cupping. Anyone listening some cupping, go to Krish.
Dude, my lag came out like an inch.
But I found out I had traps. I didn't know I had traps. I found out I had traps.
Legit. No, been to Krish, twice now, but totally worth the drive. Even my day off, drove to Abbas for 55 minutes to get there, but hey.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, my back and my hips aren't acting up, but I'm coming.
Yeah, even when I got pulled my oblique playing ultimate frisbee there, fixed it out fully.
Did you just admit that?
Yeah. Yeah, I took a shot at hockey though, but like ultimate frisbee. We're getting old, man.
We showed our hockey clips. We showed, said, took a puck or you pulled a muscle playing hockey.
I told enough people that,
frisbee.
and the ultimate frisbee just ends up coming.
So there's everyone listening. There's a soft side to Jazz in case you didn't know. He plays ultimate frisbee.
I officially retired from ultimate frisbee.
One game down and
one game down.
That was it. But no, cupping's something a little more new for sure. I know when I was a younger athlete, like early high school, it wasn't really something that was known as a recovery method.
Right.
Can you explain to somebody who's never heard cupping before what the benefit to that would be versus just like a regular massage or a foot roller or whatever that may be?
So yeah, you're absolutely right. Cupping wasn't new to the Western populations. Like out here in North America, I think a lot of people's first introduction to cupping was seeing Michael Phelps in the Olympics, like the swimmer who won like a crazy amount of gold medals. And so he had like the pepperoni marks on his back. That's actually when I first saw it. So cupping prior, it was actually very like a very ancient technique. And the first time that it was recorded of people doing cupping was actually in the Middle East. It was an Egyptian text called the Papyrus Ebris. And it was like, it had like pretty much like hieroglyphs of like cupping being used and like scalpels and other things. What it's most known for is like people first kind of saw it in actual medical practice in traditional Chinese medicine. So a lot of the rep gets sent to the traditional Chinese medicine. However, it was actually in the Middle East first by Egyptians. Then traditional Chinese medicine included it as part of their practice. How they use it is they put it on like specific like acupuncture points, and Eastern medicine is more like holistic, so it's like the whole body, and they're talking about moving qi, which is their term for energy. And all different cultures that practice cupping, they have a different term for that. So like the Polynesians, like Hawaiians, like, where like the rock is from, Samoa, they talk about moving mana, like that's the term for energy. In India, they do cupping too. They talk about moving prana, that's the type of energy. Western world now that's doing cupping, we talk in terms of like connective tissue, moving blood. So that's how we kind of conceptualize it, and that's how we've come to kind of know it. So it's different from a massage in the sense, with massage, it's compressive, meaning that we're like pushing on the body and moving the surface down. With cupping, it's decompressing. So we're applying suction and it's pulling the tissue up, like decompressing. And so what that means as far as like outcome difference is it's less direct, it's less pressure. And because it's decompressing, it allows space between skin and muscle. So like skin that's on top of the muscle. And when you have space between there, things can kind of glide on each other better. That's why like when Jazzy Rib was all stuck together, it hurt when you sneezed and when you kind of moved, it was because everything was kind of stuck together. Yeah. So when you get a cup on there, it helps like peel apart that layer and allows blood to come in. It allows a little bit of space in between those tissues and allows you to move better. That's probably one of the main differences, that decompressive aspect of cupping. And then on top of that, you get more blood, and there's just so much variety with the different types of cups, and yeah, it goes on forever, man.
Real good explanation, boys. And people have asked me when I got the marks, I'll be like, oh, what does cupping even do? And I just was like, yeah, it brings blood to the surface, blood flow is good, you just feel better.
Do like a think you're talking like a scientist when you're making no sense.
Legit.
You know, the skin on top of your muscles and just fucking with that.
No, but honestly, like, I remember I had a guy who was taking videos, and we're doing like, and he's like, yo, just make it like 15 seconds or short. And like everything that I said here, I was like, yeah, it helps with the blood flow. And I hated it, because I had to give like a short, because it's like, you can't give. I mean, there's probably some people listening to like the first part of that, they're like, those people, what does it do, man? Like, sometimes you just gotta give the short explanation. But I wanted to give some history, because I fucking geek about this stuff, right? So I like it. So.
Yeah, that's why you mastered it as well, right?
Absolutely, like. And I feel like when you're truly interested in something, you look at the history, you look at everything, even the stuff. And when I learned it because there was no Canada cupping certification when I took the course. Now there's about 2 or 3 cup therapy, cupping Canada. So what I'm certified is ICTA, which is International Cupping Therapy Association. So I learned it from the Eastern perspective, which is like, you take a cup and then you have like a little stick with a cotton on it, you burn the cotton. So like literally you're wielding fire, and then you're warming inside of the cup, and then you're placing the cup on someone. So as the oxygen burns up from the heat, it pulls the skin up into the cup. So how I did cupping on you guys is I have a little air gun that sucks the air out, but I was doing it with fire. That's how I learned it. And then I came on to this way, the Western way. And actually when I did cupping first, not a lot of people aside from the traditional Chinese practitioners, traditional Chinese medicine practitioners were doing it. So all the physios and chiros in the area, they won't admit to this now, but I'll call them out now. They all called me like a pseudoscience or a quack, because I was doing stuff that wasn't proven in the literature. And they actually had to change it in the literature, because if you type in cupping, you get the traditional Chinese medicine, and which is explained through the forms of detox and taking toxins out of your body. When you look at the research for that, it doesn't hold up. So they literally changed the name to myofascial decompression. Myo meaning muscle, fascial meaning that kind of that connective tissue. So decompressing, like I was talking about, decompressing that. So now when you have to search for does cupping work, you have to type in MFD, and then that's when the literature shows it works. But when I started doing it, that wasn't very well noted, and physios that wanted just to like knock my shit, they'd be like, yeah, cupping, that's pseudoscience, meaning like fake science, that doesn't work. He's talking about pulling toxins out, bad blood, like it's ancient. And because that's how it was explained before. They said they were pulling out bad energy, bad things. And so that came on me a lot. But the results were there. So I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm going to do it because I know it's helping my clients. At the end of the day, that's the goal. I'm not trying to prove anything. Clients got better, and now look, science has caught up. And now everyone's asking the physio, how come you don't do cupping? So it's like,
As we said, like, it goes from nobody really knows about it, so they talk shit about it.
Yeah.
Because they think it's not important.
For sure.
And then you were just spearheading that one. That's great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge advocate of cupping for everybody.
Well, it's crazy because the course I took, it didn't even come to BC, because in British Columbia, we have a regulatory body over our massage therapists, meaning everything they do, it has to be like tightly managed. Like you can't, like a nurse, they can't like go and like inject certain things because it's not part of their scope, right? So at RMT, they're not allowed to use certain instruments such as cupping. So when the cupping courses even came, they just skipped BC because they're like, look, who's gonna sign up? It's not even within their scope. So when I did it, I had to fly out of province to do the course, and I didn't get any credits for the course. It wasn't like it went towards like keeping my title as a kin. Like there was no benefit other than the fact that I just thought it worked and I wanted to learn about it. And there are a lot of people, they only do something when there's a direct benefit. It's like, am I getting credits out of this? Is it gonna make money right away? And like, that's just how it is for a lot of people, but you know?
No, definitely. And one thing that stood out for me was those literature geeks that you're talking about. One thing that frustrates me a lot within the health industry, whatever you want to call it, is that people will read literature, which is fair, as you should, right?
Right.
Yeah, you should have some sort of backing if you're going to be talking about something away from the practical side. But what they're not understanding is like now, anytime I read any type of literature paper on supplements, whatever it is, I look at the question that is being asked. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you got to ask the question, okay, who are they doing the study on? You know, is it a healthy aged man or woman aged 19 to 25 years old, or what is it? Or is it like someone who is very unhealthy and the thing that they took, like it made a huge margin of rate of success because they already were such an unhealthy state, and the thing they took, like it made a huge difference. But like, let's just say if you and I took it, fairly healthy guys, late 20s, early 30s, it only made a little bit of difference. So then now the study's gonna go and say, oh yeah, it helps, but it only helps about 10%. But take that same study and you put it towards like, that older demographic, that unhealthy demographic, and it may come out that it may help them with 90%. So it's like, you really got to look into those things too, right? Even going back to the cupping stuff, just because the science wasn't there, but the practical side was. It's not a one size fits all.
Well, I think what you said about the question,
yeah,
like what are you looking for? For cupping, first, they just thought, okay, is it the blood? So then they look at the blood. Nothing changes to the blood's composition pre and post cupping. But once they started to look at, okay, let's look at the tissue, now we're using a diagnostic ultrasound, which is going to show you the layers. And you can actually see before and after those layers, like space between the layers, and one of those, what you said reminds me of when in our undergrad, like in biology class, we did a study, right? So it was part of our bio lab. And so we wanted to see, you have a petri dish, and we had two types of bacteria. There was like streptococcus and another one, like staph. And then our thing was, let's find different compounds that will like kill this bacteria. What are antibacterial things? And me at the time, similar to you guys, like I was working at Fuel, right? In a supplement store, right? And so my thing was like, okay, let's throw all the supplements, let's see which ones actually like kill this bacteria. So when you're thinking of like immune system and things that help with like sickness, you're like, okay, echinacea is one of them. Like you're thinking like oil of oregano, you're thinking like, I don't know, I think we had some other ones like maybe tea tree or something like that. And so you have a petri dish, you have two different types of bacteria, and then we compounded it, put it in there, and we're looking for something called area of incidence, which is like how much of the bacteria did it kill. So we all kind of thought like, okay, echinacea is recommended a lot. Maybe that's gonna help, right? And so fast forward all the study, we do the results. Oil of oregano actually stood up very, very similar to actual penicillin, like as far as the results of creating area incidence. Like it was very strong antibacterial properties. I think it's oregano. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was oregano. Echinacea did nothing, zero. And we're like, what the hell? And then when we do further research into why it didn't do anything, is because the mechanism of how it works is it helps boost your immune system. So it's not something that you take as an antibacterial. It's not going to kill bacteria, but it's going to help improve your immune system response to when you first perceive the sickness or a foreign invader. So it's like what you're saying, right? Like, what are you asking? What are you looking for? What populations? Something might increase testosterone in a guy that has no test, but if he already has test, might do jack shit,
Has he done testosterone replacement therapy before? You know what I mean? Was he injecting synthetic testosterone?
Yeah.
So natural testosterone production stopped working. Whatever it is, right? Is that being answered before you go on and talk about these natural health supplements that are going to help you
for sure
produce more pre-test in your body? Yeah. So you got to look at those things. And by the way, I'm pretty sure it is oregano because I have read about oregano and how it helps for pretty confident.
My dad brought it home. Like my dad's
oil of oregano.
Very holistic.
Yeah.
Horrible
burn. Yeah, dude.
It's disgusting too, man. You just gotta chuck that shit
Oh
down.
man, yeah, no, it is that though, man. Yeah,
absolute dog.
It does help when you're sick, though. I've tried it.
for sure. Especially like as soon as you start feeling that tickle in your throat. Yeah, that's when you're
So
supposed
guys, anyone that's sick right now?
Yeah.
Oil of oregano.
Supplement house.
just watch out. It's a little fiery.
That hurts the first.
And if you could drink a tequila shot, you're fine. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna burn. Burn will help. The burn will help instead of getting you drunk.
Better than Buckley's.
So similar to the cupping that we were talking about before, have you noticed any changes, let's say in the last 5 years, to the way that kinesiologists, physios, and dietitians, anybody approaches things, especially in the West here, where before pseudoscience, they didn't believe in it. Cupping's one thing for sure, but I know especially everybody's been very health focused the last 5 years. Have you noticed any big shifts that have made like big impacts on your clients or other people you know?
I think there's a lot of different trends going around right now, which seems to be always the case. As far as in my realm, when it comes to like rehab and injuries, there's like these two competing ones right now. One is that like exercise and rehab is the key for everything. And then there's the guys that are always trying to prove that manual therapy works, right? And me, I was always a personal trainer first when I was in university, and then a strength coach. And so I have that perspective. And a kinesiologist is, by nature, study of movement. Our goal is to help people move better, right? So we're always focused on the exercise and movement. But the manual therapy kind of goes hand in hand with that. And right now we have like these two competing like factions almost, where you get all these physios where it's just like, yeah, the hands-on stuff, whatever, it's placebo. Just stick with the exercises because that's what's gonna help, like just get stronger kind of thing. And then you have these people where it's like, well, like I can't do that exercise because he's in pain. And if I massage him, then there's a reduction. Now, the mechanism of how that works might not be fully understood. Like, how is that person's pain going down? Is it actually the massage? Because they have this thing where if you take, like, if Karn was a massage therapist and I was a massage therapist, and you're Connor coming to me like, I have a knot, can you feel it? And both of us didn't know where that knot is, and we both have to like kind of find it out. We're likely to have two different responses. Both of us aren't feeling the same things. So that's where it kind of like under scrutiny, it falls apart.
So diagnose
Yeah.
what the actual issue is.
Yeah, so it's
person to person.
And then people will take that information and be like, well, manual therapy doesn't work because there's no interperson reliability. Like 5 people can massage the same person and they're all gonna find something different. So then it's a very easy way to knock manual therapy, right? So what I've noticed as far as to answer your question, the trend is a lot of people are now going towards more like exercise-based recommendation, which I always am a big like stan of, because exercise is key, exercise is lifestyle, treatment is not lifestyle, it's just a window to help you get to that lifestyle, right? So that's kind of what I've noticed. But I've honestly, in your guys' industry, noticed way more of a trend. Like supplements now, like the consumer is so much more aware. Like you have words like nootropics being talked about, like all these drugs being talked about, like peptides being talked about. All this stuff was so low key when I was in it. Like only the guys that were really in the now knew about it. And now it's like you got TikTok SARM pages and shit. Like it's wild, man.
I just looked at Jazz, and you know what? It's great. Jazzy, don't you agree? Like it's good that they're informed, but
Sometimes informed for the wrong reasons.
exactly.
Little knowledge is dangerous, right?
But
When
like,
you see like the famous following TikToks for promoting a product.
Exactly.
There's one instance where glutamine and oxyshred and the girls just kind of blew up. There's a TikTok, and within 2 weeks, our stock of oxyshred and glutamine was just wiped
we
out.
actually sold out.
It was, like, very
in a
interesting.
week. In a week,
Wow.
because it was a trending thing.
Oh, I saw also on TikTok. I swear to God, like 10, 15 girls came and just got it.
What about the creatine? When we first opened the creatine trend,
Yeah.
the creatine's been around forever, boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now there's this big knock on people talking about you don't need any creatine besides creatine monohydrate. I shit you not, Christian. You probably same thing when I was working.
Yeah.
While I was in university at the supplement shop I was at, like creatine monohydrate, it was the last thing sold out of all the creatines.
Yeah.
To be honest, like people would still buy it, but
sure.
but I mean, it was the HCLs. Now people will say, oh, well, they're overpriced. Well, no, they're not. And we actually put our money where our mouth is. We priced them just the same,
Right.
if not some of them are the price a little bit better. But and I find it interesting. I'm like, why is this? And not to knock creatine monohydrate, but the thing is, there are some people that experience bloat. There are some people that retain a lot of water. It just doesn't work for them. Solution for the TikTokers out there that do it, just take less. Well, how about no? Why don't you just take the product that works for you? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's great. People are coming in. They're coming informed, and it actually opens up a lot of. It opens up the platform to to speak up,
Have some dialogue about it.
have some
Yeah.
dialogue and kind of go back and forth. But it really frustrates me when they're just completely brainwashed. It's like, oh no, but this guy told me that this is useless and this is better. But it's like, where is he getting his information from?
Well, isn't that a reflection of our society?
Oh,
That
100%.
we all focus on more on the messenger than the message.
We just follow
And
the
like-
trends now.
Well, it's just if I've said up to this point, 5 things that someone agrees with. That 6th thing could be like just false, but there's such a high inclination for them to believe me now because a lot of what I've said is true. Look at like the examples of the most popular influencers we have right now. You have guys like Jordan Peterson, right? Build a basic reputation, great reputation on his behavioral psychology, right? People like him for that 12 rules on how to like kind of navigate your life. All this stuff I was a big fan of, right? I agree with so much of what he has to say. Now he's going into realms of stuff that might not necessarily be his expertise. And then you start saying it, but now it's like I've bought it. I've invested, I've put the down payment on this guy. And he's saying something that I don't agree with. I'm like, oh, but people still believe. You have guys like Andrew Huberman, where it's like, oh, he's Stanford men, like, you know, so much stuff that like, I'm gonna believe it because there's so much science in science. But at the end of the day, he's like stockpiling all this and then he's a simplifier, right? He's taking the research and he's simplifying it to his audience for general pop to understand. There's gonna be a lot of fucking shit that gets caught up in that. But we have to, now we're at the point where it's like, he said 9 out of 10 things on ADHD, I agree, on this I agree, this I agree, but then there's that one. But I think what I'm trying to get to say is like, all this is we still always end up focusing on the person. Joe Rogan, David Goggins, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Huberman, like these are like the big guys. And then for some reason, everyone thinks that this is not the mainstream yet. These are the most popular people. Like name me 3 other behavioral psychologists, do you know? No one. You wouldn't be able to tell me, right? Name me other guys that have graduated from Stanford, like that are similar to Huberman. You wouldn't know. Most of these PhDs don't have Instagram, social media. So we're only getting the pool of the people that have decided to allocate resources to social media. You know what I mean? It's true. But if you ask any of these guys too, is social media healthy for you?
Not at all.
No, not at all. But we still so, you know, it's so interesting. And I'm fallible to this too. And I'm also probably spewing a lot of misinformation too. So forgive me for the shit that I don't know yet, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's just, I think we really need to really focus on the fucking message sometimes, man. Cause it's like, man, I'll just fall in love with that person and I'll be like, yeah, that's, this guy, cause we all want community, right?
And the thing is, they're still trying to build a brand as well. You know what I mean?
And they have to keep producing content.
You have
weekly.
What like how much, like, I'm sorry that you can take all the supplements, but you're still human. You know what I mean? So some of it will end up being clickbait. It is what it is. Anyone that's putting stuff out there, you want to engage whoever's listening to it, right? The consumer, you want to engage them. So when they click it, they're just not going past it right away. They're like, oh, wait, this is the title, like some crazy title.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like creatine monohydrate you'll freaking solve like cancer or something.
Yeah. Double your gains, prevent Alzheimer's. Like it's just straight to the point, you know?
But then you'll read you'll actually look into it itself, and then one big word comes may. Or link to or something like that, then it says, okay, well, it's not.
Here's the thing with anyone that's studied the scientific method, nothing is proven in science. It's only supported. And for everything we have a null hypothesis. We're just trying to disprove certain shit.
Exactly.
And then it's like, okay, now we're trying to get closer and closer and closer. But science has never been one to say like this. And I hate it because a lot of people that are anti-science for some reason are like, yeah, but like this is what it said and then it was wrong. It's like, no, science is never right. It's only telling you what supports something, and then more research, more evidence, and then it has to be replicated over different areas. And that's the whole process. Like science is meant to be disproven so we can keep getting closer and closer and closer to the truth, right?
No, 100%.
But yeah, it's interesting that
it is interesting. You see a lot of it. And then the other thing that drives me very, very, very crazy is that when people will take one topic or one product, for example, knock it just to boast about what they're talking about, what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That should tell you right away for everyone listening that maybe you should do a little bit a deeper dive into whatever you're going to be taking or doing.
Because that product might be good for someone else doesn't do anything.
True. That's actually a really good point, man. Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll backtrack a little bit. You know how you were talking about physiotherapists and massage people. Some people support them and some people don't, and some people just support getting stronger, working out. But I feel like the people that don't support physio and massage, they think they're just gonna fix them and they're not gonna work out. And then they get fixed for like a week or two and then they go back to their bad habits. Right. And then the injury aggravates itself. I've done that before. I've been a hypocrite before. I'm like, I'm not doing any fixes, physio or this massage. I'm good for a week, but then I go back. But then you look about it, what did I really change outside that?
Totally.
Besides the hour I spent in that place, right?
Well, that's a great point. It's an hour of 24 hours of your 7 days a week of your lifetime that you're seeing me. What can I really do? Yeah. You know what I mean? 100%. And that's not to downplay what I'm doing, but it's to emphasize your role in your recovery.
Like every time I see you, you tell me to do these exercises. And I'll be honest, I've done like twice. And I go back and then I'll see you again, like legit, like you see him again, like, don't work out too hard. I'm alright, fine. Next day I go there, pre-workout kicks and I'm going max out. But then the injury hits again. Karn yells at me all the time, stop lifting. I'm like, bro, I just have to.
Eventually, there's two things that drive any market. It's motivation or frustration.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're just gonna get so frustrated.
I'm at that point, I'm fully trying to
just tell me what to do. I promise I won't steer.
Yeah.
Or either you're super motivated to be the best, or you're just sick of your life where it's at and you want to like not be there ever again. So
That was me 100%. I like played lots of sports when I was a kid, and I went from never stretched at all, never went to any chiro, physio, massage or anything. What it was.
Yeah.
21 years old, and I'm like sore, getting out of bed, or like playing basketball, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like looking at my dad. He's doing like 10K runs and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shut the fuck up, go to a physio, and try to figure this out a little bit, right?
Totally.
No, I think that's where the divide comes in that aspect. People like that are working out just kind of just like their habits are good. You know what I mean? And the people that just go to physio and massage, their habits aren't great. You know, I'll take me for example. Like I go there like once every month, and then my injury in a month, then I'll come back again.
Well, I think you need to go through that full circle, and then you come around, and then you realize its place. And then now I have a lot of clients that might come on a routine where it's like 3 times a year, like once every quarter, right? And they just come for some accountability. There's stuff that's nagging them. They're already on top of their mobility and stretching. They're like, hey, my shoulder does bug me when I do this. What do you have? What do you recommend? And then can you work it out? And then it's like, it's literally how I like to explain it is a jump start. You still got to drive your car after you jump start, right? And if you don't, what's going to happen? The battery stays dead. So sometimes all you need is a jump start, and then it's on you to get going. And that's all I am, is I'm that jump start. I'm that computer diagnosis where you put the chip in, and I might read a couple things out to you, and then go ahead, do your assessment, see how the wheels work after that.
I feel like you want to prevent, you don't want to treat all the time.
Totally. It's like an oil change, right? You just gotta keep cycling through. You need to get better and go there, but your habits have to be good, you know?
And absolutely, and like, how often do you need oil change? How fast are you running your car? How often do you drive your car?
Yeah.
It's all dependent, right?
100%.
Can you change it yourself? Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't go with surgery because like how you said it, like it's not bugging my daily motion.
Right.
So I'm still like working out, bench pressing, shoulder pressing, so it's fine like that.
Totally.
But if I was gonna do the shoulder, get my surgery done, I would have had like 70% of my motion that I have now.
Right.
So like there's no point doing that. So like how you said, if it's not applicable to you, there's no point really focusing on that.
I've had so many clients now say like, I wish I had seen you, or I wish I had known about this before I got my surgery.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, like lack of knowledge, you don't know, and you see some guy in a white coat telling you, and you have that hierarchy's built in, professional. This guy obviously knows what he's talking about, so he's not going to lead me wrong. You already assuming he's not going to withhold physical therapy if that was a viable option. He's not going to say, so surgery must be the only thing, and we just assume that, right? But now the research is coming out and it's showing knee replacements. Half the time, they don't have favorable outcomes. Half the time, people that don't get them have favorable outcomes. Why did you need a knee replacement? Was it because you were walking funny? Was it because of certain structural stuff? It's like, okay, if none of those are addressed, you replace the knee, and in another 3-5 years, you're gonna have to get it done again. But then you're told the surgery will put you in a coma, right? So it's like, it's all context driven, man. And like, yeah.
It definitely is.
Like going back to that, like remember when I saw you first, I could barely move my shoulder like 9 degrees
Yeah,
off my head.
yeah.
So like 2016, I went to physios, chiros, massages, and no one really used copy or explained it. They were just trying to fix it and just like come back. But when I saw you within the first day, my motion went so much better.
Right.
And then you just looked at different spots, and my shoulder wasn't moving, my lats and my traps were tight.
Yeah.
And that's when the copy came in. And no one really used cupping before.
No, and well, here's the thing. Cupping's been around, right? Like those other practitioners have been there. So it's like, why wasn't the hype there if it was always helping people? It's cupping to me is like massage. How is it being implemented? Who is doing it matters just as much as the technique. If someone asks you, does massage work? Well, shit, there's like lymphatic massage, there's postpartum massage, there's massage, sports massage, there's relaxation massage, there's like so many different types of massage. And then like, is it an RMT? Is it like a body worker? Like who's providing the massage? So cupping is just thrown around like, oh, is cupping good or bad? And everyone just kind of talks about it. Just like how someone is pre-workout good or bad? Is protein good or bad? It's like, that's not the question. You're asking the wrong question. Is Krish right for you? Is that person at Big Feet right for you? Is the RMT like close to your, like in the clinic, is that right for you? Like, that should be the question. Because when we talk about cupping, we take away all the nuance and all the context. Literally, it's like asking, is pre-workout right for you? There's stim, free stim. If you just said, oh no, because it's going to get you hooked on caffeine, it's like, well, there's shit without caffeine.
Where are you comparing that to?
Well, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's a very nuanced thing. And I'm just saying this, and this is probably going to sound like arrogant, and this is my bad quality of having some ego. But yeah, it really depends on what you do before the cupping and how you're doing it. Because like, go get cupping somewhere else and then see, like, it's not going to be the same, because what have you done to make the tissue pliable to respond to the cups? You just put a cup on someone, they come in straight from the thing. It's like just cracking someone.
Buy some from Amazon, honestly, right now.
Literally, 100%.
Buy some at home. This definitely does not make me feel the way.
I mean, there's a reason. Like, you have a wife. You massage her, she might massage you, but you still might go and get a massage, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you can go buy cups and it will give you short-term relief. You can go and do these things, but there's still professionals for a reason, and there's a way people do things that, you like.
Yeah, I felt that people are obviously, and rightfully so, I mean, I'm a consumer too, I'm trying to find the answer right away. Right. When the problem comes up. So people usually come in, they try getting, okay, what's the answer? But like you said, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends. That's usually the answer. Like I use that a lot. Like if I'm helping anyone, and the only way you can get the right answer or get close enough to it is just honestly by asking more and more questions.
Yeah.
Like how the daily routine is, how that affects them.
Yeah. Like what do you do? Like even you were talking about the different type of surgeries or different type of methods to massaging, cupping, or whatever it is. Like it needs to make sense for them, because like Jazz said, he's not trying, like when his shoulder thing, he's not an MLB pitcher or anything like that, so he didn't really need to go the route of getting the surgery or whatever it was.
Well, doctors tell me it's the only way to fix it.
Yeah, but it's like who's he comparing that to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
well, and exhaust the options. Try it. See, try the pre-workout. Try the protein powder. Try the cupping. Try the massage.
Yeah.
The experience is such a good teacher, man, and it's not as widely used because we want to just not waste any time, but we waste all the time in analysis. And like I'm sure you guys have heard the term paralysis by analysis, right? Like we want to figure out like what product's the best, so then we like look at it and go look at all the reviews, and it's like ask if they have a sample. Like just go and try it.
Like who's it the best for? Like what type of person?
Exactly.
Right?
Like sometimes you just got to go out there and try shit. That's why even to Connor's question, where it's like, well, what's the routine that you recommend? It's like, well, just try some shit, try doing the splits, and if you're not even close and that's something you want to do, maybe work on your hips.
So what made you choose cupping? Like why did you want to focus on that particularly? And why did you like master it instead of going around like eye mask needling or just like massage plus other forms of treatment? Like what made you fall in love with cupping? I know it works. I know it works great, but
I think because it's so visual and people see it, that I just got the reputation as the cupping guy. But that's not what I like. That's not
the only
focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also one of the first to like bring it here in the way that it was brought here, and the first to market it that way. Like I said, I'm not the first person to do it, but to introduce it in the way it has, a lot of people here might not have known about it in that regard. But it was honestly just outcome driven. Like the reason why I decided to go and learn more about it and do it was it just worked. And when I introduced it, it just helped people. And my goal isn't to have like the best technique. My goal is to have the best results. So if 8 out of 10 people respond well to having cupping in their treatment, then it's something that I'm gonna start to use more and rely on more. It's one of my tools that happen to work a little bit better, right? So that's kind of what led me into using more cupping, doing further education on it, and further education on it, constantly being up to date with what's going on, is just because, it's something that my clients like, it's working. And that being said, I do that for everything else too, whether it's instrument assisted with the blading, learning different types of like taping techniques, different types of massage techniques, different types of stretch techniques. Everything I do with my hands, I can do with my feet. You did like table tie techniques. So like, like.
The first time I got Thai massage was the trippiest thing ever. My cousin took me, I don't know where, someplace in White Rock. And then whatever, so like he gets the guy, he's like, I want to get him deep and sound okay. I'll go to get a massage, and this little like Asian, like older lady comes up, I barely understood what she was saying. She's like, okay, next thing she just jumped on my back, had me tripping. She folded me like a pretzel, bro. I'm like, how
Bro,
is this wrong?
legit.
My arms are back, but she was like, her knees are in my hammies and my ass. I'm like, well, what's going on? She probably weighed like 110 pounds.
She whooped your ass.
She kicked my ass. Like,
Honestly, that stuff is like, in my opinion, is some of the best stuff. Like that
I've heard, yeah.
stretching, table that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You just you left. You're like, fine, I saw my ass kicked, but then next day or two, like, I feel great. Yeah. But speaking even on the marketing side of things too, Krish. Funny enough, and I told you this too. Before I got to meet Krish, I actually already knew about him as stalkers.
social media.
And weird as it sounds, yeah, this is from like not even like the past year, but I'm talking like years back. Because on my Instagram, my feed, you always used to pop up, dude. Like always, KinKrish. Like I would see, you know, you working on people or whatever. I'm like, dude, this guy's doing it. Like this guy's, you were always on this. This is like back when Instagram, like, you know, had a different look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the reason why we checked him out too. I'm like, you came in. I remember when the first time you came in briefly, told us about yourself, and then like, yo, is that guy? We're like, yo, that's that.
That's KinKrish.
And then that's when we came here. The next thing it worked for me, it worked for him. Now we're all
So he's that up card. He's like, yeah, Krish, nice to meet you, Matt. I already know.
That's it.
I know.
I remember one time, like I was at the gym, and actually, yeah, this was in the gym parking lot. Someone comes up to me, and I'm like, oh, this person's coming up to me. They're gonna say something, right?
Yeah.
And this is before I met my girlfriend, who I love so much.
Yeah.
It was just some random chick coming up to me, and she's like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "What's she gonna say?" She's like, "Are you that cupping guy?" And I was like, yeah, it's me. She's like, "Oh, do you have any appointments?" And I'm like, "Yeah." What's bothering you? Like, it's like I don't know what it was, but that time, that like I was posting so much stuff because I had left my previous job, so I went from working full time, and then I was doing my treatments on the side, right? So when I would come home at 9 p.m., I would do like maybe one treatment, and then the weekends was all treatments, right? And so my weekends were full, my evenings were full, and I was working full time in a salary position. And if you guys ever work salary position, they're gonna make you work your hours and some, right? So I was spent, but I was like at that point where I'm like, I can't take any more clients, so I have to decide, right? But at the same time, I might be seeing like 8 clients a week. So if I leave my 60 hours of salary for 8 hours, that's a big gap. And I have my own like little condo, so I have overhead. It's not a lot at that time, but I had overhead bills to pay. And so I was like, shit, man, I had to make that jump. And so when you make that jump, now 8 hours are full and you have another 50, 60 hours to fill. And when you're 100% in charge of all your own income, like as you guys know as business owners, that pressure's on. And you can't just be like, oh, it's summer, so people aren't out, or oh, it's winter, so they don't want to drive. You literally are like, I'm driving all my consumers. So what I did is I hit up all the supplement reps I knew. I hit up everyone I knew. Hey guys, do you want to try this? Do this? This is what I do. And everyone that was coming, they were just excited to try something new. So they were sharing. So I had reps from all over. I had all the friends. And I was just like, I just needed to fill my time. Someone would book for a half an hour appointment, and I might give them 3 hours if I didn't have anyone booked in that day. What else am I supposed to do? I'm trying to grow my business. And I didn't even have the knowledge to provide that much value because I was new. When you're new, you don't know everything. So I was doing the shotgun approach. I'm like, shit, I don't actually know exactly what's causing this guy's shoulder problem. So I'm gonna work on like the 7 muscles that attach to that shoulder. And it's gonna take me 3 hours, but I know at the end of it, he's gonna feel better. And I did that, and it'd be like $30. At one point, I had this guy coming to me, and he was a competitor too. And he's like, Krish, you gotta stop going this much. He's like, cause I set aside like $40 to pay you. And like, you're giving me 3 hours and I feel like shit leaving you, paying you $40. And I'm like, bro, I don't care if you pay me more or less. Like I have the time and I'm gonna do this cause it's experience for me. And I think that's what really got it out there. Cause I was just, everyone that came in was a video. I pretty much documented the whole process. And people saw me from going to people's houses. They saw my treatments in the studio. They saw when I got the clinic, and it just felt like everyone was a part of the journey. And it still feels like that, you know, which I like.
You're telling your own story, and they're just gonna follow along.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I mean, social media has always been a thing, but I'm assuming there probably wasn't many kinesiologists on Instagram like how you were constantly posting or things like that. So I feel like you're probably hitting a niche market where no one else was.
Yeah, it wasn't that big, man. It wasn't that big at all. And I just put shit out there, camera on top of like literally a camera behind a bottle of like disinfectant wipes just propped up, and then just like, audio's all off, everything's off, and it just worked. It was natural. People fuck with it a little bit. So It got to go. And now there's so much pressure on having like
The proper reel.
the proper setup, the proper
The lights.
the cinematics, the video, and
Captions.
the captions, and you know, you have apps that cater to that, but it's so difficult to have something, and our attention, we're so used to that. So when we see someone just in front of like just a basic background and they're not very like the music's not there, it's we just click off.
And swipe off as well.
Yeah.
Swipe now too, right?
And like there's very few people I think that can still capture audience without having all that. Like Derek, more plates, more dates. Like
Yeah.
it's just him in front of like his old like it looks like he's in front of a sauna, right? Like for a lot of his videos, and people just like the shit he has to say so much, and he's very very good with how he says things and explains things, and there's a few people like that, but a lot of people, I hate to say it, they don't have that charisma. They need the fucking music in the back.
I'm a strong believer. You got to be authentic to have that charisma too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta be yourself. Yeah,
You gotta be yourself.
Yeah.
That's why Derek, More Plates, More Dates, like Joe Rogan, all together, they created their own niche.
absolutely.
Right?
And no one can topple them because they're just being themselves.
100%. Like, have you seen that Sam Sulek guy on social media?
Yeah,
at all?
yeah.
That guy's a
His-
tank.
Blew up.
His YouTube videos, like minimal edited
Yeah.
whatsoever, like no effects, nothing. They're like an hour long.
Yeah.
They're getting millions of views.
Dude, it's crazy. The guy has a mic hooked up to his hat, and he's just like talking to himself in the gym. Like, imagine that though, the confidence you have to have though. Like,
Yes.
even when I did what I did, and there wasn't many people doing it, not a lot of people want to take a video of them in their parents' basement, making a video with them in like, you know, but it's a risk you have to take. And like Sam, probably to us, looks completely normal when we're watching a short. Imagine going to the gym next door here, seeing a guy having a full-on conversation to nobody as he's working out. Everyone's gonna be like, what is he doing? But like, that's so much confidence, and like all the views he's getting, like, well deserved.
Reminds me of Rich Piana, where he used to do that.
Yeah.
Rich Piana, if you guys remember, it was all time. Yeah, unfortunately.
5%. Yeah, 5%.
Yeah, he kind of took that approach. It reminds me a lot of
That
that.
was a unit too.
Yeah, maybe Sam Sulek, I mean, him walking around, just talking to himself. I mean, I'll show you like a 250-pound beast too. You know, so we,
Oh, yeah.
No one's like, gonna fuck with you there, but I mean, no,
They're squatting like 5 plates like
Yeah.
it's nothing.
Yeah, it's just so authentic, man. And even like, he'll have some senti moments too, man. You'll touch on everything.
Oh yeah, he's great, and like obviously, I don't think any of us here know him, but he seems like a pretty good guy. But like, what's very unique about that is I don't know if he took this into consideration, but if you just start a YouTube channel as a big bodybuilder, your longevity is not as strong as something where you're so unique like him. Now everybody's gonna try doing these hour-long, 2-hour-long unedited videos.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to break out in that. Where if he went to the approach, oh, I'm gonna do a vlog in the gym, or I'm gonna do a 5-minute grocery shopping video or something like that. It's like, okay, you're number 25,000
Right.
out of everybody else, and you look at what he's got now, and it's like, okay, the longevity's there because he's an originator of that
Right.
style of content.
Right.
And as Carmen was saying, it's him.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be anybody else. It's just this guy who loves working out, loves routine.
Absolutely.
Let's just showcase that.
I think what you said is important, man. Like when it comes to business too. Like I watched a TED Talk, and I think I was talking to Karn about this in the shop one day, and they were kind of trying to compare all these businesses and see what's the one denominator between them that's like led to massive success between like Google, YouTube, like et cetera, Microsoft. And you know, things that we hear about times, like maybe they just worked harder, maybe finance background, all this stuff. One of the biggest, or actually the biggest differentiating factor, or the factor that made the biggest difference, I should say, was timing. And so it's like, if I produced a better YouTube now, it wouldn't matter. If I produced a better search engine now, it wouldn't matter. You know, like it's not even being first. It's like when did you come out with that product? And that's the thing, right? So it's like, now I can do exactly what's that. Doesn't matter. I could do it better with a better mic and a better. It's been done.
Doesn't matter. And I'm not a video game guy, but what I think of is I think of the PSP, the PlayStation Portable.
Right.
Died out. 5 years later, what was the most popular thing in every Best Buy? Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, and they did it better. Yeah,
And they did it better. And it's
the
just like,
timing was way better for it.
timing was
Yeah.
way better. Because, you know, PSP, the screens weren't great.
You never had a
The
PSP?
hardware kind of
I had a PSP.
Sickest thing ever.
But yeah, it's all timing. It's like the product's pretty much the same as the updated version.
Oh, dude, everyone in the parents used Skype back in the day. Where the fuck is Skype? Everyone uses Zoom. Pandemic comes, Skype's gone, Zoom's in. They captured all that timing, you know?
Absolutely perfect. Like they literally nailed it. And when you think of Shopify, was kind of the biggest company during the pandemic because all the stores were migrating online.
Right.
Every single store went, okay, we can't open a brick and mortar. We can't
Right.
operate a brick and mortar. We got to bring it online. Nobody knew how to do that. And Shopify made it super easy.
And hey, if there's a big enough pool where enough money is being flowed in and out, even if you're not the best, it's still a good idea to get in. I remember when dropshipping first became big and I was like, I'm gonna get in this. And then like 5 years later, I'm like, oh, it's too late. 5 years later, I'm like, yeah, it's too late. And then like I talked to a buddy that just started it a few months ago and he's killing it. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, this guy started it like 20 years too late and he's still killing it. Like
Sometimes it's just luck too. You know what I mean? Some things that you just can't calculate for.
Intangibles, bro. Yeah.
The intangibles that you can't put on a spreadsheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But ultimately too, I feel like sometimes if you do something for a long enough period of time too, like you're almost guaranteed you're gonna be successful.
Something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen if you do it for long enough. I mean, look at Mr. Beast. Look at his YouTube channel, right? Like I saw his journey. His first year, I think it took him like 3 to 5 years to really take off or something.
Yeah, it took him a few years. I think one of the biggest things for his success, and I'm sure you saw this as well, was surrounding himself with a team where the goal was, we are going to be the most successful people on YouTube. We're going to spend 8 hours a day on it every single day, and we'll get there when we get there. But it was surrounding themselves with areas that he wasn't proficient in. So he might not be great at thumbnails, but his buddy really was.
Yeah.
And he made the best thumbnails out. Totally. So now everybody in that group, all 6 of those people, now have the best thumbnail person. And Mr. Beast's best video idea. Okay, the other 5 aren't the best video idea people. But now your videos have the best idea because you have somebody in that ring that's surrounding themselves with everybody that they can be successful with.
Got it. What you said too is that was his goal. Like he was very intentional in what he wanted to do. Like there was a book I was reading. It's called Be Your Future Self Now. It's by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And what the book is all about like transformational psychology, like how to transform yourself. In the first like maybe 5 pages of the book, it talks about Mr. Beast without saying it's Mr. Beast and everything that he did. And Mr. Beast literally made a video saying, by this year, I will have this many subscribers and this. And he wasn't shaping his future based on his past. He was shaping his present based on what he wanted to be in the future. And this book dives into how we say you make $25 an hour at your current job. Your next job, if it's another like salary or similar position, you're like, okay, I want to make 30, 35. But that's limiting yourself because you're thinking, okay, I'm worth 25. I've done a bit better now, 30. But the people that can think ahead and then work back, like, no, I want to make 10 million. They don't have all that anchor shit holding them back. And then that's when you make huge transformational change. And Mr. Beast really embodied that transformational psychology, right? And that's a whole new focus in psychology is that like future tense. We all have, Karn in high school would be disappointed in me, or Krish before used to lift this much, he would be disappointed in me in this. We always compare it to our past frame. But what this book talks about is you have to create a very strong, thank you, man. You have to create a very strong future version of yourself. And then it's like, okay, I want to have Wendy's, but I'm letting future Krish down. And then when you make that connection so strong, you know exactly what he looks like, what he's going to feel like, and you just kind of pretend to be him right in that moment, that's when you can be that person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Keeping that on the front of your mind, I mean, biggest thing, rather if it's your business owner, if you're an athlete, it's your reason why.
Yeah.
Why are you waking up at 5 in the morning and going to the hockey rink?
Right.
Why are you doing all this research on the history of different types of massages and cupping and all of that?
Yeah.
There's a reason behind that. And if you ever are low in motivation or low in whatever it is, it's what's that reason why?
Absolutely.
And that should get you pretty fired up. If it's not, then you might be time to have a conversation with yourself. But
yeah. And dig deep, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Even that example you gave of like you're making $20 an hour, you want to make 30, and you're just really focused on making that $30 an hour honestly, if that's what you're manifesting, that's all you'll ever be, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like dreaming of the 10 million, working backwards. That ultimately, like, honestly, there's some of our viewers, even us, we're probably doing it without even thinking of it. You know what I mean? We're dreaming real big, like real big, and now we're working backwards. And you're thinking, okay, 10 years from now, I can see, I can picture it. If you can like you can picture it, if you can feel it, and you know what it feels like to be in that position. I mean, ultimately,
It's a fucking battle.
it is a battle because it's
Like,
like a challenge,
oh my
right?
God,
Because I always feel like for me, it's like, hey, do you deserve it? Then if you deserve it, then you got to go through all the shit to kind of get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta
Like,
enjoy the journey at the same time.
you do, because once you get there, you look back and you're like, huh, what next? Us as humans, we're like, most people struggle with that. Like once you get there, like I already know when I reach my goals, we reach our goals. I know for sure, I know how I am as a person. Okay, what next? Like I don't really know if I'll ever settle. Same with everyone sitting at this table. I don't know if you guys ever will either. Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Because you always focus on the achievements, and after that, it's all a little downhill.
But then when you hit the achievement, think about it. Does it even ever matter? Like Jazzy, think about it. After our first year, we had some goals, we hit them.
Yeah.
But was it enough?
No, now it's kind of plateaued. Like, okay, what next? We gotta go higher.
Yeah,
Right?
and then now we have we have some really big dreams, right? Like personal goals, work goals, or whatever it is. And I've noticed, like, hey, once I'm hitting them, it honestly doesn't really mean that much. It's doing the thing that really that ultimately keeps you doing, that gives you purpose, that gives you all these great traits about yourself that people point out, right? You're creating yourself, and then ultimately when you get there, it's like, oh shit, it's like, yeah, I achieved this, but look who I became in the process. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep that in mind, man. Like I find it's so hard because like one, you have to be around people like yourselves that aren't gonna just stop.
That gets tough.
Man, like for me, someone that really helped me not become comfortable was Steve Weeb, the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Abbotsford, he's done fantastic things, right?
All the
Crazy things, yeah. Amazing things, from working on famous people to collaborating with brands such as like Jordan and Adidas and et cetera. And I remember one of the things he told me is like, dude, like, actually, this is something that when he came in, and like I thought I was doing good, right? So like I got to the point where I owned my own clinic. I never thought I'd own my own clinic. Like, like it's just stuff that I put in my head that's like, oh my God, I'm there now, right? But for some reason, unlike what you're saying, that level of accomplishment started to hit, where I got to the point where I was like, I'm good. Like, it wasn't that I stopped pushing. I always wanted to do better. I always wanted to like fix my clients. I always wanted to get to the next stage, but that drive wasn't the same. It wasn't like, I wanted to open up another one or do that. I was kind of like, yeah, this is good. I want to enjoy what I have, create that balance. And then when people that were doing those things, I looked at them and I'm like, they're special. I have my own special, but they're different special. So when I saw him, I remember one thing I said, we were talking, and I don't know if it put him off at all. Like, I doubt it. Like, I see it very often now. But I just remember saying, I was like, yeah, you know what? I just kind of want to like get a little bit busy here, maybe sell some more products. But like you, man, like, you're something else. Like you do something else. And I could just tell like something in him changed when he was like looking at me. Like, when I talked to him after, he's like, bro, like you can be the me in your industry. Like, it might not look the same, but don't like sell yourself short. And I know what you're talking about is like, you always have that vision of what's next and what's next. Honestly, I never thought I would feel like I wouldn't want to keep thinking like that. But at some point it hits, man. Like I got to the point with my clinic, I'm paying off my overhead, making difference. I'm still doing better in certain regards. I'm focusing on other things in my life, and I'm just like, yeah, this is good. You have the voices like my dad, because he wants the security in my life. He's like, focus on just balance now, And then you just get like caught up in that, and then you see someone doing something that they didn't stop by that level. They didn't stop at that comfort, and then those voices come in your head. It's like, that guy's just talking shit. Like, he's not gonna get there, and you start making excuses for why you're not as successful as him. And so, like, I've experienced both, man. I've gone from that like beginning to like, I gotta get there, and then this, and now it's like, okay, hearing you talk about that, like that aspirational speaking, and you talking about it, how those achievements aren't enough. It's like, you gotta remind yourself the battle's never done. Like, life is a continuous journey, right? And it's me personally, man. It's a battle, man. Like, especially when you're doing good.
You just get to a state of you being comfortable the whole time, right?
And it's like, comfort is so like, I don't know, it's so relative. Because like a lot of people will be like, oh, how are you comfortable? Like, I just got new merch in, I'm focusing on new things. I'm talking to Karn about carrying products. Like, I'm still trying, but that's my level of comfort. is growing my clinic. Clinic aside, what's the next thing? Outside, disrupt, right? Like that's the mindset that got me into this, you know? Like I wasn't thinking the clinic when I started this. I was just thinking, how do I help people and something else develop? My mind's not even like trying to like, what's the next disruptor, you know?
Like, how do you go start teaching other people the way you do it, right? That
Exactly. Yeah. Things like that. Clinic, if I'm thinking more clinics, I'm still in the same comfortable mindset because now I know how to do a clinic. I ran a clinic before, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, what's next, you know? And now my body doesn't want to think that because it's like, I know this. Let me stick with this. Someone else does something. This example that I can show you is I remember when I started selling bands, it was like a year in, right? When I opened the clinic, I'm like, okay, I have to show everyone how to do exercises. I might as well provide the band because I kept sending people to like one of the fitness stores or whatever, and they're paying like $30 for like these cheap bands. I'm like, I could get them manufactured overseas, sell the same band for cheaper, you know? And then if the client's coming in the first time, I can even give the bands away, you know, if they're coming in for treatment. I was doing that, and then one of my clients also had another kinesiologist, and they brought it up. They're like, "Oh, how come you don't do your bands?" And you know what they said about me? They're like, "Oh, we want to focus on the treatments. He's too business-minded." And that's what people say when they don't fucking grow. And like, fast forward 8 years, it's like, "Oh, why don't you do a course?" What do you think? It's like, "Yeah, but I'm focused on like the treatments, working on people. I don't want to do a course to try to help other people." I have that same fucking narrative now. I've become that hater. And like now I'm hating on other people, right? So that's what I mean. It's a battle. It's like I have to check myself now, and it's frustrating because I don't want to do this other shit. But it's like I'm limiting myself, you know? So it's like keep that mindset that you have, and don't be around people that are gonna be like, no man, just have your store, run your family, and that's good.
Like this is good. Like they're trying to tell you what's good for you, right?
you're doing good, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Totally. And like honestly, man, if you're completely content with that, and like and that's your thing,
right?
But
like,
that's it.
You gave a different definition than I had, and I completely respect that. Like you
Right.
just laid it all down. Like that's great perspective, Krish, honestly.
But I just think you need to know yourself, know your values, know your red lines, and then focus on the process, and then be open to the interpretation.
Yeah, and you know I found too, like even your story, like you said, you would have psyched yourself out. I'm sure you know you had your own very particular story about how you started your clinic. And if you look at anyone that ever started anything like pretty awesome, you know, whether it be any type of business or service or whatever it is, they always tend to have like a pretty like interesting story behind it. Even us, that's like we have a pretty interesting story how we started this. It's like it's very not your common like, oh, let's put this much money down, let's go find a store and we'll
This is our exact business plan, point A to B.
Yeah, it was complete shockland. If I'm being completely honest, with you, we just kind of figured it out as we.
You just gotta trust the process, and hopefully, you know, it works
That
out.
too.
If not, you just change it along the way.
And we told ourselves too, like, you know, like luckily having some life experience and being involved in other businesses and things like that, it's like, okay, well, like when shit's starting to go a little bit bad or like it's not going the way you know, it's like, hey, this is part of it. Because I'll tell you what, if you had it all handed to you, you would not enjoy it. You would just be like, hey, what's the next thing? Like, where's the next shiny thing? Like you know, the reflection of the, I'm gonna go chase that now, right? And I found too, just like kind of as I've been growing up too, like that shiny coin that's always been there. Now this is even for the first time for me where I was like, hey, I'm doing something that I've actually always loved to do because I've experienced doing it while I was going to school and things like that. There's a purpose behind it, helping people, right? And for those who know me, like I enjoy speaking with people. I enjoy getting to know their stories, and you know what problem they have. If I can help, I'll do my best to help, right? Like it doesn't really cost anything to be kind to someone or to help them. And I realized that it's like, hey, well, if I could do this for a long time, and I love business too, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely, we can do a little bit of both, like, and they still kind of resurface thing like that. But I was like, no, this is my focus,
right?
Like this, there's a reason this is happening. You know, I believe in that, right? The higher power, and you know, like my faith for me is everything. So I believe in those things. So it's like, hey, this is happening for a reason. And like, let's get after it, right? And it's like I feel blessed too. You know what I mean? Like my partner is one of my best friends, and he has the same vision too. Our way of doing things is completely different.
Which is great.
Naz, what did you say? Like
Like, totally different.
Yeah, totally different. But it works. Like I'm telling you, someone followed us with the camera for like a week.
Yeah.
Like how the fuck does this even work?
Like, how is your store running, man?
How does this work? Yeah, like if things get done, you know, they'll get done to our effort level is very high, but like, I mean, it's very unorthodox.
Well, I think that's great because it shows that you guys appreciate each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Like each other's differences.
Yeah, like at the start, like I honestly hated talking to people.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to get this guy. And it drove me fucking nuts. I'm like, bro, you can't.
A customer come in the
Stop being
door.
a dick.
I was like, just cool, man. Just cool. Talk to him. Talk to him.
And then there'd come a point where, and those that know me, like I have a tendency sometimes to, when I need to say something, I need to say it right now, and I'll talk over you. Really bad tendency, and I apologize. I've probably done that to every single one of you in this room right now. But it was so bad of this guy would finally like get to the point.
Like I'm trying, like supplement for me is new. Like
Yeah.
I'm taking them. I know my brief knowledge, but
Yeah.
trying to actually like share my full knowledge. It took me a while to get hang of everything, right? So finally, I had like this couple of supplements I know, and then Carter was just like, first he wanted me to go. Then I started going, and this guy just cut me off. It's like, bro,
Like legit mid sentence, he's talking to like.
Guy's developing his confidence, and you're like, well, wait.
Actually, and it's legitimately, there's I knew where I really did it. Where like legitimately, like he just look at me, turn around, just go walk, and just.
So there's a couple times I still remember.
I was like,
It was
oh,
very, the customer coming, like a good friend of ours, right? So it was a customer, but a friend of ours. So I'm talking to him, talking about product, and then slowly, like I just like hear like someone breathing behind my neck, and then no, slowly, like, he just like lingered in front of me, and I was like, no, fuck
the
this.
worst.
It's like I sat down.
Yeah.
And I looked at him like, bro, like you told me to talk. Just shut the fuck up and let me talk, bro.
So there's like passionate enthusiasm will just get the best of me, and I'll be like, but yeah, you didn't. But what about? Make sure you say this. Make sure you say this. But it's just like, dude, this is the way Jazz explains things. He does it his own way, and people fuck with that. To be honest with you.
But that's the thing.
Right?
Everyone has something that they relate to in someone else that we don't know what it is.
Yes.
We don't know. Like I remember, like I think it was something I was watching in Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson was saying who his boxing idols were, and they weren't like the Muhammad Ali. It was more like the Jack Dempsey because they were cut from a different cloth, more rough, and that's what he could see in himself because that's what environment he grew up in. He's like, yo, it's like this is the shit that I was inspired with because that's how I saw myself and that's what I grew up in. And so you might have a guy like Jazz or a younger version of him who just wants to hear like this the blunt of it or how he describes it. And he's like, yeah, that's what I like. And then if I come in there talking about substrates and fucking this science and petri dish, and the guy's like, "Get away from me, square!" Like, like, bro, like, what do you even say, square? Like, I'm like, you know, like, who the hell is this geek? Like, you know what I mean?
That's literally how it is. I feel like I'm a little more blunt and he gets the actual terminology
Yeah.
for us. But people like the difference, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for
you,
sure.
You can tell with some people that just like, for me, simply like, I don't really need the science. Just tell me
Yeah.
what works, what's reasoning, why it
Oh,
will
yeah.
work, and then if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
fits me, I'm gonna take it. Whereas Karn likes to know everything. Which
Yeah,
is like, that's how he is, right? So it worked for him, it worked for me. So
Oh, and then the people get both. They do. We're the exact same. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't know.
now, like, he lets me talk, he'll ask me for my like, the side of the story too. What do you think? I was like, well, that was a little better, but oh yeah, true.
Yeah, because like I could get you have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
Yeah, you got to see the other side of the coin. And I realized that too. Like that's a big thing that I picked up too. You got to see the other side of the coin. And that's probably just the straight ego too, where you're just like, oh, no, I've done this. I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean, Connor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I see
but
that too much. That was old like coaches.
oh, geez, the fun fact, I trained Connor when he first got in. He used to work at the same shop that I worked at way back when, and
Poor me.
yeah, to train this guy. But I honestly can just picture.
Bro, honestly, man, we're very like I used to do a lot of that shit because I was just like I was convinced I knew what like sold.
Yeah.
Because you have so much experience, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the products. I'm like, make sure you say it to you sling better. Say don't say this,
Say
like,
this.
and then, like you know, because it's like after so many years, you start to, and then you just want the best. But it's like some people gotta figure it out themselves, and you gotta. I'm happy I learned that through supplements. So when I went through the clinic is like I'm not trying to fix people's problems. I'm trying to lead them to fix their problems.
Definitely.
Once they fix it or once they come up with a solution, they're likely to stick with it. If I just tell them, here's the sheet, follow it, that sheet's all available all over the internet. But if I give them the right cues and they're like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to like move my shoulder when I press or this is that. And when they come up with it on their own and I just gave some encouragement or maybe guided them towards that conclusion, then that's their conclusion. They fix their own problem. And that's the same thing with supplements. It's like when they chose their product, they'll buy it. But if you're telling them what to buy, you're always going to be met with resistance. And that's just psychology. So it's just like, oh, you want something with more endurance? This one has more, this one has less. This one has more. Let them do the math. Give them a minute to think about it. Walk away. And then they'll be like, they picked it. Now it's like, oh man, I bought the supplement that I thought was good. And like, you don't have to be the reason they bought it. we have to take our egos out of it. I don't have to be the reason they got fixed.
True.
And like they might even go to another physio, and then that physio says, I'm the one who did it, but it was something I told earlier. This has happened. Like, this guy fixed me. Maybe they fucking did it. Like,
Me, my
shit, what was the exercise? He needs the marketing help. All right. All right, you fixed him. Cool.
Like where me and him saw pre-workout is pretty funny. Like, bro, you trying to get pumping, get cracked off caffeine? And I'll do it.
legit.
It's kind of like, yo, stop saying that. I'm like, bro, like kids just tell me they want. Like,
They look at you and say, yeah.
And we go through different. I remember I came.
I'm like saying, yeah, don't. That's too much caffeine for you.
I'm like,
Just,
bro,
wanna get cracked out, bro.
but think like when I was growing up, that's what I loved. I just loved the working out, just getting the high, just working out.
Goes through different phases. I remember coming to your guys' store. I wake up at like 4:30, bro, 5, right?
Yeah.
So I need something to give me some energy sometimes, right? And so like I know over relying on stim, and I don't want to put anyone under the bus. I don't even remember who it was. Like, yeah, man, you got to stay away from like that too much stim and stuff, right?
But honestly, having a caffeine tolerance, some of these kids that come in, like even me personally, growing up, caffeine took way too much caffeine. They didn't understand pre-workouts. They just want to feel like just like jittery in the gym, but realistic, that ain't good for you at all.
Oh man, like I was in the peak of like the pre-workouts that
you
were getting
were, yeah.
shelled, right?
Like Jack 3D and
and Jack 3D, all that stuff, man. And like guys were like double, triple scooping that. I took 4 scoops in NeuroCore back when I had DMAA in it. That was the pre-workout by Muscle Tech, and like it was just crazy, man. Like we did
scoops?
4 scoops.
Holy fuck.
4 scoops. You know what I did right after
over
that?
a gram of caffeine.
Yeah.
You know what I did right after that?
Sleep.
Went to bed. Like just adrenal.
Your
fucking
adrenals
crash.
didn't exist.
Just.
Most fucked up thing, I took a scoop of 1MR, scoop of Jack 3D, and I think a scoop of Assault. So I was like 18, just out of high school, bro, that I was laying around. Bro, I had the craziest 3-hour workout of my life.
Yeah.
But after that, I sat at home for like 7 hours. It's like, what the fuck
You
am I doing?
legit feel like you did drugs.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can work out forever.
Bro.
You can't eat after. You listen to sad music
Oh.
in the car. And
It is drugs, bro. Yeah. We would get stuff that like wasn't even like supposed to be. So I remember we took this stuff called Angel Dust. Like it's called Angel
I
Dust.
tried that before.
Oh, and it was Angel Dust V2. So it was like, I remember my buddy, and he worked with me at the store I used to work at. And after the workout, we just went straight to my house, and he's on my couch, and he's just like full on starfish, just cold sweating. He's like, give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm like, bro, you're fine. like it was crazy.
Those pre-workouts are psychotic and stuff like that too. Mesomorph, those
Yeah.
pre-workouts.
Oh, that's horrible. That was probably one of the last ones that took up the DMA in there.
You could work out for like 3 hours just pushing PRs you never pushed in your life before.
Oh, they used to put like Yohimbi in
Yohimbi,
pre-workouts.
yeah, they banned that too.
That stuff would just make you sweat like so much.
Yeah.
Like so much. Like it's crazy.
It's kind of a good thing they stopped banned all that stuff.
It is.
Well, yeah, it's like it's unnecessary, and if it's crashing you at the end of the day, making you feel like shit, it's probably not gonna help
Never
you
working,
overall.
working out, coming home. My dad's like, you just worked out, and like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's just like, where's your energy gone? Like, you don't do shit, but go to the gym and work out. Like, bro,
I
you
got that a million times.
Bro, who didn't have a parent? It's just like the moment you can't lift anything will struggle with anything. You go to the gym? Oh, you go to the gym? What is this? What do you literally
you
lift?
don't even cut the grass at home without getting tired. How do you go to the gym?
In relation to the gym, checking out your Instagram page, and I see you did some work with Chris Bumstead.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me a little bit about that? How was that meeting him, and like, was there any differences that you noticed from his body versus like a regular client? Obviously, his muscle proportions are through the roof compared to the average individual. Did you
Yeah.
notice it was like tougher to work with him, or was he always on top of
No,
his
those are like the ideal clients. So I've worked with him a few times when he used to come down here a bit more often. Now I know him and Calvin, they're out in Florida, and they're just killing it over there. I have a lot of experience with like the bodybuilders, powerlifters, because that's what I grew up doing, right? I competed in powerlifting. And so you deal with a lot of bigger bodies. And people always, for some reason, when you see a guy that's muscle bound and looks like amazing like Chris, for some reason, it's just the thoughts like, oh, that must be hard to work on. It's like, no, it's easy. Like the guy knows everything about his body. He's so in tune with it. I can see everything I'm working on. Like it's not that hard. Like here's the trap, here's this. Yeah. The hardest people are the people that are very like fit, like very, very thin. Because I have like a
where everything is in the body. And
yes, well, absolutely. It's hard to differentiate because there's such less surface area. And then my surface area, say my elbow is bigger than the diameter of their trap, like, and I'm trying to like get it just on there. It's so easy to slide off, right? So that's what makes it a lot harder. Now, like back to your original question, it was just dope working on him. And I've been kind of out of the scene. Like I obviously know who Chris Bumstead is, and I feel like he's like an Arnold, right? Like he's our generation's Arnold.
Yeah.
So like even
He's
me,
5 time now, right? He's one of the Olympians.
5 times.
Just
yeah, and I feel like he can keep going if he wants. Even me being out of the like industry and not watching Olympias and not like being there, like I knew who he was, like, you know. And so when he came in, I think it was almost better that I wasn't that into it because I wasn't asking a lot of like the annoying questions. He talked about his sister. We just talked about shit. We shot the shit, and I just talked about what he had tightness with, right? And I remember one of the things he said is that what he doesn't like about a therapist is when he starts going off and then they just start talking to him because he's there for a purpose, right? So his purpose is like, I need to get my body worked on, right? So a lot of people always focus on the conversation or they want to impress him or something. It's like the dude just wants to get his body worked on. Just do your job, right? Like, and that was it. Like, so for him, we obviously talked about a bunch of stuff. Him and I, we probably don't have that much in common aside from lifting outside of the world. Like I think our music tastes and things like that are different. But he's a very humble guy. He deserves every bit of respect. He deserves every bit of faith. Everything he's done, he's worked for. I only know him based on those few interactions. But everyone that I've met that's known him, or everybody that's like met him that I've known, well, I'll say the same things. And yeah, you treat a guy for a couple of hours, like you obviously get to know them. Super humble guy. As far as his physique, everyone's body's like, give or take, the muscles are in the same place. So it's nothing. People always ask me that, what was it like working on him? Like anatomy is anatomy. Like it's a boring answer, but flesh is flesh. It doesn't really change if you one Olympia or did it. Like at least it doesn't change to me because a peck is a peck. Absolutely. You know, and I've worked on BC's strongest man, and that guy dwarfs Chris. Like, you know, like Chris Davies, like, and I'm not saying this to like disrespect Chris, God, no. Yeah. I'm just saying like there's bigger people, smaller people more conditioned if they were closer to like this show versus like Chris who came closer to his off season. So, but what's special about him is who he is. Nothing to do with his body. He's just a fucking phenomenal human being. Great, obviously great proportions, great physique. Yeah, everything he has well deserved. Yeah.
Not everybody gets to they worked on Olympian, you know?
Yeah, for sure. If you want to get if you want to get worked on by the guy who worked on Chris, and actually I was the first person to do cupping on him too. So he had never done cupping before, and he was actually very hesitant to it, but he was open to trying it. Calvin, who was our mutual connect, said, he's like, yo, Christian knows this stuff, give it a try. And he tried it, and he loved it. He came back for it again too, so.
What was his hesitation?
Well, I think there was a lot of hype behind it, and a lot of just like, oh, this is the thing, and like, Chris is the guy that like, he does shit that works. He doesn't really fall for the hype. Like the guy's a genuine guy. He's not just trying to do something for clout. And I think that's where his perspective was. Like I can't speak for him, but I think that's where he was. Where he's like, I just don't want to do something just because it's cupping, right? And then I explained to him like the process and how it works. And we went over some stuff. And even when he posted about it, like he made a story, he's like, yo, this guy knows his shit. And this stuff actually helps. He's like, his story was, I'm surprised at the outcome of this. I didn't think it was going to be like this. Like, that's literally what he wrote. So he was pleasantly surprised. Now, am I saying that's like, this was the best treatment? Absolutely, probably not. Like, someone that's going to work with them over time continuously, they're going to get to know his body better, right? That's why I don't like working selectively on people that are just like here for a season and then gone. It's like, I don't get to build any relationship, right? Yeah. But for him to have that kind of impact from that one treatment or the couple treatments we had, like, that's awesome. It's very validating to me. I know when he went back to Ottawa, he had cupping and didn't like it as much, and then he came back. So I was like, yeah, it is me. I'm him. That's all me. I'm the best in the world. That's never. I mean, I didn't work on him before the Olympics, so that's why he won. Yeah. But that's pretty cool. Sarcasm. It's all me. You want to win that show? I'm the guy.
For sure. So you worked on him, Steve Weeb, any other pretty cool people you worked on in the past?
Yeah, a lot of like a couple pro MMA fighters like Gang Gill up and coming here, like not up and coming, he's killing it. Yeah, like Sonny Deansa, like it was
WWE.
WWE. Yeah.
Dope.
Like my I don't want to say my favorites, but the people I'm really excited about right now are the high school wrestlers and the collegiate wrestlers we have in Abbotsford. We have like the huge talent pool. We had a guy, Michael Graywell, just won Pan Ams last year. So imagine that in high school to beat America's best high school in that class, in that age. America has a population of about like 350 million with resources where they like fill out stadiums. And for someone who has to come and pay me for treatment, like we don't even have a dedicated person that's helping these guys out, for them to beat that. And there's multiple guys. You got like all the Dinsas, Tejri Dinsa, Jora, Jet Group, all these young guys.
Damn.
Exceptional morals and values. Like I'll shout these guys out anytime. These guys are killing it. All winning nationals, all winning provincials.
They need a sponsor.
Oh man, you know, I actually talked to Tejri and I mentioned that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because I think I know when they go somewhere, they just get like a basic kind of just whatever kind of thing.
Don't tell them to come down. We'll hook them up.
No, these guys,
well,
they
I-
deserve all the help they can get because like they're doing amazing things, and these are the role models that I think our kids should look up to because like they're training diligently. Then like at least, and you don't know what a person's like outside the clinic, but when they come and they see me, they always thank you, this, that, what can I do? They're on time. If they show up late, oh, I'm sorry, this, that, like. And like the whole lot of them, man, like the wrestler's discipline is something else. Like, and I grew up doing judo, so it was different, but still, it's so much discipline. Like before you go on the mat, you bow. Like, and every time you have to get your nails checked, like make sure your nails are cut. All these things, like it's all discipline, you know? Yeah, you wield so much power being able to just like dummy someone and being able to control that. And imagine being in high school, like if you had that ability just to like ragdoll someone and you have to like keep that in, you can't just like flex in front of people, like that takes discipline. And like these guys are so impressive, like from the wrestling clubs in Abbotsford. I'm really like into that now, and it's might not be as lucrative because the only people that are into wrestling really care for these accomplishments, and people outside are just like, okay, but like I just think what they're doing is spectacular. And then of course I deal with a lot of power lifters, bodybuilders, fighters, boxers. My sister's actually fighting on December 16th.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah, she's a kickboxer.
She's in Australia, right?
She's in Australia,
that's
so this
dope.
is her second kickboxing fight. She's in a couple boxing fights. She's also a lawyer, so she's like a big inspiration.
She's a badass.
She has her own firm. Yeah,
That's sick.
has her own firm. She fights. She was like the university UFE.
Does it win the case? Meet me outside.
Bro, exactly. Yeah. You're gonna settle whether you want to or not.
That's badass.
Yeah, bro. So, yeah, no, that's
Well, yeah, Krish, let everyone know your socials, please, so they can follow you as well.
Yes. So, Instagram is at KinKrish, KINKRISH, and then also at kin.consulting. And then my website is kinsulting.com. So KINSULTING.com. So there's I mean,
Hey, real listening, check him out. He's the best in the game.
100%. It's worth the drive, guys. If you're not located in Abbotsford, I promise you, it is worth the drive.
And drop by for some shakes after.
Give Krish a follow, guys. Like I said, share this podcast if you liked it. I mean, if you didn't like it, then that's fine too.
Let us know what
Fair
you didn't
game.
like.
Yeah, let us know if you didn't like.
it's okay.
Yeah, okay. But no, thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next week. Be good.
Thanks, guys.